Welcome to the Dude Soup Holiday Show What is it? Welcome to the Dude Soup 2017. Welcome to the Dude Soup 2017 Holiday Show Spectacular with your host, Lawrence Sontag.
Oh, hi there. I didn't see you come in. I'm your host, Lawrence Sontag, and welcome to a festive holiday special bowl of Dude Soup. Holidays are all about family, and while you may be getting to know yours this holiday, I invite you to get to know ours. What follows is a series of short interviews with all of the members of the Funhaus family, and perhaps through that, you can get to know my family as much as you know yours. It's empty. Hey, Bruce.
Hey.
How you doing?
Great.
I got
What's
a
wrong
timer
with you?
here.
Sound sad.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm got a lot going on. It's not about me, Bruce. It's about you.
What?
Yeah. So what, Bruce, trying to think where to start. What was your worst memory of high school?
Worst memory of high school?
Yeah.
Oh, man. My junior year of high school is terrible. I remember there was this rice pilaf in the cafeteria that I used to eat. So I was obviously poor, and I had no friends my junior year of high school. And I would eat this rice pilaf once a week, and I knew it was bad, but I still ate it because it was the only thing that I could eat. And every night I would burp it up. And there were like some nights that I couldn't go to sleep because I could feel it in my throat, it would cause acid reflux. And I was like 15 years old.
So it hung in your throat all day?
It hung in my throat all day and all night.
Oh my
But I
God.
still ate it, and I ate it once a week. And it always reminded me how sad my life was. My senior year of high school was awesome, by the way. Junior year of high school was terrible.
So what changed did you just stop eating rice and everything got better?
I mean, I stopped that, but I also got friends and a girlfriend and a car and like a bunch of really good things that happened.
Huh. Was that, well, no, okay. Because the shift of somebody's life from sadness to happiness is always fascinating to me. Would you attribute that to anything that you did or like a mentality shift? Just
No. I mean, it just comes after a while that like I lived in, it was a new city. It was my first year at that school. So like you were getting to know people, and the one kid that I was friends with, I barely remember his name, but I knew he was a giant nerd, and I was also a huge nerd. But I remember thinking to myself, like, this dude is such a nerd. And I was like, I don't know if I even really like the kid. And then the next year, when in senior high school, we didn't hang out at all. I know.
What do you think he's up to now? You should go find out.
I don't know. I really want to know, actually. I'm curious.
It's funny that you bring up classifications of nerd, because I think in the past I've heard you mention some things like to socialize properly. Maybe there's some things you have to temper.
Oh yeah, sure. But I don't mean nerd in the sense of the word that I was a total nerd in like Star Wars and all that other shit. I just mean in the sense that like he didn't like I feel like he didn't even like me. Like he was like mean to me. And that's the way I always looked at nerds, was they're like they didn't know they were being mean to you, or they were and they just didn't give a fuck, and they're just like, you know what, I'm a nerd, I don't care. And I was always like, I don't understand that mentality at all. So maybe, I'm sorry, I used the word nerd wrong. He was just a dick.
Well, I think we got some clarification on it. No, and that's something that I've always found fascinating about you is you have a shockingly sound view on morality and society and things like that.
I hope so.
I know it's kind of a bomb drop, but
yeah.
No, and to hear you talk about that stuff is really interesting, because I mean, other people try to hyper complicate stuff, but you find a way to always boil it down to very simple and respectful terms, which is something I find odd.
But also, I may have had, that may have been me too. Like I always look back on this and go, well, maybe I was a dick. Like maybe I mean, this is what, I was 15, and I was probably a total dick when I was 15 years old. So ideally, I matured, he matured, maybe we just grew apart. Maybe that was all it was.
Maybe.
Either way, yeah, no, I'm sure, I hope he's doing well. There was no reason for that. He didn't scar me in any way. It was just one of those things where I realized, I was like, man, we just don't have anything in common. Why are we hanging out?
It's always odd to reflect back on past relationships and wonder why you were in them or what they gave to you.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Yeah. So how's your relationships now? Do you feel pretty gratified? And that's a loaded question, considering that I'm
Oh
sitting right
boy.
here.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. For me, the more of my life becomes trying to satisfy the other side of the relationships. Like, I want people to be happy with me. I like when people are like, oh yeah, like, you did this, or like you made me feel this way, like good things. So I hope I'm great. These are such broad questions.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm everything to everyone, but hopefully I'm satisfying people in the relationships I'm in with them. I don't know. We'll see.
I think so.
I hope so.
Well, okay. What is your best high school or junior high school memory?
Oh man, I have so many.
Yeah?
My senior year was fucking awesome.
You got to boil
Lawrence.
it down, though.
It was fucking awesome. Okay, all right, yeah, I got one.
Okay.
This is just one of them though. So we did these things called air bands in high school, where it was basically just a lip sync competition where you got 4 or 5 guys together, and then you would pretend to play guitar or sing or play bass or drums or whatever. And the whole thing, you were basically lip syncing to a pop song, a song that people knew. When I went to high school, the Aquabats were popular.
Oh, shit. They're still popular, Bruce.
No,
No, they're not.
They're not.
They're
And they had a song called Super Rad.
Yeah.
And so we did air bands to Super Rad. It was an air bands competition in front of the whole school in the Greek theater, and we won.
What did you win?
We didn't. I don't remember winning anything.
Respect.
To be honest with you, I do remember though. We all wore Aquabats masks that we made. We did the air bands thing, and when we won, I got to look out at the crowd, and I threw a mask to somebody, and I think it fell in like a girl's hands, and she went ah, I felt like a rock star. I was 16 years old. It was great. So that's probably one of my best memories of high school.
Excellent. Well, now you get to be a rock star every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
I think that is. Well, thank you, Bruce.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it. I got transition seats. Hello, James. Thank you
Hi,
for joining
Lawrence.
me. Hey.
Hi. There's nothing in this mug. It's empty.
No, yeah, I found that out too. I looked in the kitchen for the most festive mug I could find, and these little penguins I thought fit the bill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to mask the wires.
Oh, okay.
Stage dressing, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Except that you could just see it.
Yeah, I see
I
everything.
got a little tree. This is nice. What is the time that you thought Goku was the strongest?
What do you mean?
Because there's relative strength. I feel. I mean, you can go all the way at the end where he's blowing up planets or whatever. That's too easy.
I mean, that's it. He's definitively the strongest as the arc goes on.
Okay.
He's never gotten weaker at any point, unless you're referring to him, say his ability to hide his power level, when he first arrives on Namek, and Berta and Jeese think he's really weak because they're using the scouters, but that's
I haven't gotten there yet.
why would you do that? You know?
Yeah. I don't know. Dramatic tension.
He just only uses the power spikes when he needs it. So you don't need to be strong all the time. He just literally does it when he hits Rikum, and then that's it. And then they're like, "Oh, what happened?" And they don't know. So it allows him to get an advantage on his enemies.
Damn, I'm right there.
Yeah.
I'm right there. I'm excited to watch that. So you mentioned this previously about, speaking of strength, about how when you were younger, your dad sort of introduced you to gym culture and stuff like that. Do you take that as something that's core to your being? Do you think of it as a personality trait for you, or is it just something you enjoy doing?
The pursuit of strength or exercise?
Yeah. Does it start to take on motivations apart from what you do in the gym? Does it inform decisions you make?
Absolutely. I think whatever that motivation is, I think almost everyone, unless you have some sort of psychological issue, like a normally balanced brain chemistry, I think naturally has that by nature of being a human being. I think that's the same kind of stuff that causes people to really like video games or countries to go to war. It's a constant challenging of oneself and one's limits. Otherwise, everyone would just be super complacent and communism would work. Okay. For whatever reason,
setting a goal and then
I think for whatever reason, I just got pointed in the direction early on of oh, you can do that by lifting heavy things. And so I started doing that. But even by that point, I was the kind of person who likes to play video games, which has a ton of that built in. At its most basic level, it's reaching the next stage of a game. But then in RPGs and stuff, it's max leveling your character or finding new gear and stuff that's better. So.
Okay, so all that is informed by an even deeper, more fundamental set of principles that flow out into fitness and video games and stuff.
I think so. I think it's just how people choose to apply it. I mean, sometimes it's power, political power. It's I don't think that to them and their brain, I don't think it's any more different than going to the gym for me. It's just a constant pursuit of acquiring more. Bruce actually tweeted something a couple weeks ago about how is there anyone with any modicum of power who isn't motivated by greed? And I jokingly replied, because I saw his tweet while I was at the gym, and I replied to it with, well, I just did a certain number of reps at a certain number of weight, and I want to do more of it.
Okay.
And it's a joke reply, but I think it also does make sense. I think that applies to anyone. I own 5 homes. I wonder if I could own 7 homes, kind of thing. I think it's whatever brain chemistry causes that to happen, it's the same, regardless of what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you think of any point and this is related to Goku being the strongest.
Yeah.
Can you think of any point where you acquired something, a personal goal, an external goal, anything, where that motivation was so fulfilled for a, let's say, day or week? Like there was an extended amount of time where you felt finished.
No.
Yeah.
Not really, no. Like, there's been a lot of things that I've, like, just specifically taken on because I thought that they were difficult personal tasks, like traits or whatever. So, like, I want to learn guitar. I never got to a point where it's like, there, I'm a guitarist. Like, I never felt that way. And, like, lifting weights, there's been a ton of times where I'm like, oh, I want to get, like, this lift. I want to be able to do 4 plates, you know? And then I'll do it, and I'm like, okay, well, on to the next one. You know, like, it's just now you just move the finish line back further. I would say the closest I can think that I've come to is for a while I was doing, like, I had just listened to all of the Song of Ice and Fire audiobooks.
Okay.
Which was kind of like, I did it.
That's monumental. That's like, what, 1,000 hours?
Yeah, and there was like, oh, now there's all the world of Ice and Fire. And the Bard's Tales, like there's like the Onion Knight Tales, or there's other supplementary things that aren't necessarily directly. And I said, like, I'm okay, I'm good. Like I've gotten there and stuff like that. So there have been times where I guess theoretically I could have continued to try and hurdle those goals, but I didn't really want to. So.
All right. Well, thank you, James.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll move on.
Absolutely.
And then the snowflakes fly in. I found a winter transition pack. I gotta get Benson up here. Hello, Elyse.
Hey, Lawrence.
Welcome to my very elegant talk show.
Is this the curtains we use for D&D?
It absolutely is, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Would you believe they turned these blue for Google Trends?
That was pretty impressive. I like
Wizardry. Absolute wizardry.
that. I'm a tough nut to crack.
Well, sort of, yeah.
Not
Complicated
really.
individual. How do you... I understand completely, and I guess if people don't know you that well, you... and forgive me if this is a little too personal, but you do sort of have a tendency to discount compliments or refuse polite feedback. And if I were to guess, and tell me if I'm wrong, it does sort of come from this complex of motivation. For me, I refuse to believe anything good about myself because that's what fuels me. I don't know if that's where it derives from for you.
No,
but
I think it's like social constructs as a woman. It's my upbringing. It's my own personal tragedies or struggles or what have you. I mean, like you said, it's pretty complex.
Can you
you just ask me my favorite games of the year are?
Yeah, what were your favorite games of the year?
Oh boy, I don't even know. I wish I had prepared for that. I thought we were going to talk about my personal issues with psyche.
Okay, I didn't prepare anything.
Oh,
okay.
I'm
just riffing. Can
you
you believe in a vision of yourself where you've reconstructed something that's not there? And that's
I would like to. I would like to have. I have a goal of the vision of myself. I want to be able to believe someday. Mm-hmm. Personally, I try. I'm very lucky that I work with all of you guys. So when I don't feel those things about myself, you guys scream them in my face.
All the negativity?
Yeah, the negativity. Yeah. I mean, so like I have my ego, so you guys bring me down a peg. But yeah, it's also hard for me to talk about the way I see myself. But I'm very fortunate that you guys and the people that like our stuff, some of them don't, but a lot of them are very encouraging in the way they see me. So I appreciate that. And I think my favorite games of the year.
Now you've had some time to think about it.
I just played Doki Doki Literature Club.
That's pretty cool, right?
About. And yeah, it's neat. I like the lore and all the weird stuff you're gonna get into when you kind of look at that game from under a microscope.
Yeah, I was hoping there was a point where it was driving towards the idea that your perception is not absolute. Which is some of that stuff I really enjoy, especially when it comes to perhaps young gentlemen who are repeatedly playing the role of hero and whose actions are always justified by the plot and things like that. There does sort of develop a complex that I think carries over into real life. If I don't see it, it doesn't happen. And there's some pretty cool stuff in there where you've got your anime archetypes, but it turns out that they only act that way around you, and there's other things going on that you're blissfully ignorant of. I think a lot of... Speaking purely stereotypically, a lot of dudes get to live in blissful ignorance about a lot of stuff.
Sure, yeah. Like clearly this T-shirt, case in point of living in blissful ignorance.
Would it be this gentleman right here?
Yeah.
I gotta push it for the holidays.
I know. Yes, I totally agree with you on that. For me, it's like the way that the meta game they're playing. I really appreciate with Doki Doki Literature Club. Yeah, I don't really have anything else.
That's cool. I got a question for you.
Yeah, lay it on me.
What is a powerful memory you have of reading a physical book?
Oh my god. A book I fell in love with at age 7 was The Westing Game, which is a mystery. It's kind of a locked room mystery about a bunch of people that live at a new like condo high-rise development, and it's in this Westing town that's kind of been there's one man who has been making this town everything it is. He dies, he leaves them all in his will, sort of thing. But I love mysteries, so for me that I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what story is capable of doing, and this is what story like this is capable of doing with mysteries and tying all these elements together and having these really rich characters that have backstories, and there's deception and there's a puzzle to it as well. And I thought that was really amazing.
Do you remember where you were when you read it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Probably, I mean, from home. I read constantly. When I was a kid, I always had a book in my hand. Like through the breakfast table, car, like everywhere. I was just always reading. And it's kind of like Stephen King. That's kind of how Stephen King always has a book in his hand. People talk about they see Stephen King at the movie theater, and he's like reading right until the movie starts. And he's kind of a personal hero.
Do you feel as though something in literature culture is lost now that most books are electronic or audio?
James and I digest books in a very different way sometimes because he'll listen to the audiobook, and I do listen to audiobooks a lot. Like I'll usually have maybe 3 different books on the go, 2 physical and like 1 audible, or 2 audible, 1 physical. And so yeah, there is a difference to like reading a book, rereading a specific sentence or passage because it resonates with you so much that you don't generally with an audiobook stop it and then rewind it. But with the book, like your eyes will reskim a section or a page or words again and again, or at least for me, sometimes that happens. And as a visual learner, it sticks with me more than listening to it. And I just think owning books is cool. I love buying books. I love like a physical book. There's something collectible about it. But I love the full cast recordings in audiobooks. Those are ballin'. There was a Lock and Key full cast recording with Haley Joel Osment. That was great. Anyway, I know you listen to audiobooks too. And Steph listens to audiobooks too, I know.
It's not about me. It's definitely not about her.
Oh, boy.
Well, thank you, Elyse.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, mine's the most boring section.
We'll let the audience decide.
Talk about books.
Some people love books. Hey, John, you look like shit.
Thank you. I feel wonderful.
He's very sick. And also high on NyQuil, Dayquil?
Dayquil.
All the quills.
What's up?
Hey, man.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you. Oh, boy, you really stepped in it, huh?
Everything.
Merry holidays. I recall that there was something you told me. I think it was...
These lights are super
They're
bright.
very bright. I'm sorry. Thank you for subjecting yourself to this in your state.
For sure. I didn't know what it was going to be, so.
Yeah, no, it's. I got a tree.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you. You said, I don't remember what I asked, but I remember the answer. This was like holiday party last year.
Uh-huh.
You said that there was a moment in your life when you decided you just wanted to be funny.
Well, it was basically, I realized that no one understood my jokes.
Yeah.
And so it was more that I just decided to entertain myself rather than try to, like, appease people. Yeah. That was a good turning point because I basically I skipped the whole like I slowly watched all my student or fellow students and stuff kind of change throughout middle school and high school into kind of, you know, they were still themselves and they were still cool, but like they kind of like abandoned a lot of their kid tendencies, and I kept them. And then kid stuff became cool again.
So that's an interesting way to phrase it. When you mean kid stuff, do you just mean...
Just being a goofball and not worrying about it. You hang out with, like, if you have any young nephews or nieces or anything like that, like, they're goofballs. They don't judge. They don't even think about that. They haven't learned about it yet, so.
Haven't learned shame?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
So there's like a certain age where that kind of gets inseminated into our social circles, which I think it doesn't happen in homeschool, which is why homeschool kids are so fucking weird.
It's a really good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a kind of social shaming that goes on to conform and drop certain behavior patterns. So do you remember the exact moment when you were like, man, I'm going to decide not to care anymore?
No, because I think I tried to a little bit. I remember in 9th grade, we had to write poems, and I wrote a poem.
That's very illustrative of your desire to entertain yourself.
I drank a lot of Dayquil, so I'm not sure sober me would want to be revealing this, but I wrote a poem called I Am Not Your Jester.
That's very deep.
And it was a fuck you to the cool clique. Yeah. Anyways.
Oh, please.
What is wrong with
He's high. Is there any
What?
is there any possibility, oh, by the grace of God up above, that you have access to this poem now?
I'll have to check my Zanga.
Okay. God, I hope it hasn't been shut down. Or maybe Wayback can pull it out of the
We'll
internet
see.
ether.
I'll have to remember what it was. I had a lot of multiple Zangas. They were all Christian names.
Like books or characters?
Well, actually, it wasn't Christian. It was Wish to Fly.
I see. So generic, like mid-90s Judeo rock. Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be really embarrassed by this interview when I sober up.
But you promised yourself you'd never be embarrassed.
Oh, yeah. That's what I said.
So was that a conscious effort, or did you just flip a switch?
I mean, there's still some people I want to think I'm funny and cool. Like, it's just not doing it blindly with everyone. Like, there are people that matter, and what's that old saying? It's like, those who care about you don't care, and those who don't care about you care. So I don't fucking know.
I think I see where you're going.
You know what I'm saying?
People who
Oh boy.
mind don't matter.
People who mind don't matter. People who matter don't mind.
The people,
There you go.
yeah.
I got a lot of.
and those who
aphorisms
can't
thrown around.
teach Jim.
I identify with growing up in the church and also feeling that weird sensation where you throw something out and you're like, man, I'm proud of this, and then everyone else stares at you like you're some sort of monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird process to go through. I'm glad you decided to not conform, although sometimes it's important to conform. I don't know, it gets weird.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, although sometimes you're super annoying.
No, not at all. Not even a dash of negativity. No, it's something that's tough to struggle with. It's where to find the balance, because you can live totally unrestrained. That has its own particular set of consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever run afoul of that? Like times where, even in your attempts to live free and open and not constrain yourself by the stupid rules of society or the pretty people, where maybe you think back and you're like, man, I probably should have restrained myself. Like now, for instance.
I forgot the question.
I guess it was long. That's all right.
Do you mind repeating it?
Sure.
We can just wrap it here.
Yeah, we could. Thank you, John.
For sure.
Warm in here.
Yeah, I put the jacket on because I'm ashamed of my lumps.
Yeah, I know that game.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Hey, jacket guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Bones.
Hi.
/ Adam Brouillard.
Hello.
Gosh, you've lived a colorful life.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You lived in a van.
I lived in a van voluntarily for about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
Was that to discover yourself, or?
I thought it would be to discover myself and discover the country. I mostly discovered my parents' driveway.
So you didn't have gas money, or you just didn't feel like flying the nest?
Van didn't run so good.
Ah.
Yeah. I don't know much about cars.
You wanted to live in one.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, it's all right. It all worked out in the end.
Sure. It actually, as far as I can tell, it did.
Yeah.
But, okay, so day one, I'm going to see the world and discover myself.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of vision did you have of the freedom and cool lifestyle of van
Oh,
living?
my God. I saw myself hitting that open road at a modest 52 miles an hour, probably,
And I had all these like gatherings. Like there was like all across the country. There's like a hobo gathering in Iowa that I was going to go to. There's this thing called a rainbow gathering.
How did you learn about these?
I just researched them online, and I had some hippie friends that knew about them. Turns out the rainbow gathering though was just a bunch of dirtballs like mooching off each other. It wasn't really the spiritual experience I thought it would be. That's what I've heard, anyways. Yeah. So I think the farthest I ever did make was Fresno from Southern California, which for people that don't know is I don't know about 5 or 6 hours.
That's pretty far.
That's all right. Yeah. And then I missed my now wife, and I drove back, and everyone laughed at me. Yeah, like that.
Kind of like that.
Bruce was one of them.
Yeah. you and Bruce have known each other for quite a while.
We have, yeah. We met senior year of high school. Yeah, way back in '97.
Well, you met Bruce right when he was flowering.
Yeah. Oh man, he was flowering all over the place.
Yeah. Growing into his own.
Yeah.
Would you say that was the turning point of your life too? That was a bit of an overstatement.
Yes, absolutely.
I took his virginity.
100%.
Bruce claimed your virginity?
He was my first friend that had touched a boob, I think. So that was pretty big.
Did he tell you about it?
I mean, he wasn't gross about it, not in detail, but
he's a gentleman.
Yeah, but it definitely happened. Yeah, before I did.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How would you describe your wardrobe in high school?
Wardrobe in high school. Well, first years it was billowy. I was very, very large, and so it was a lot of billowy shirts and hoods and oh shit. It's not that much different. But later in high school, it was the opposite. It was like way too small shirts and like those shorts that have drawstrings and no belt.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it was not good. I was a skater for a minute. Yeah.
Did you ever ollie up a curb?
No, I can never learn ollie.
Okay.
I wore baggy pants though that I cut up the sides a little bit.
Nice. Well, yeah, because you're doing all the skating.
Yeah.
They drag on the street. They get all distressed. Why wait? Do it yourself. Well, okay. So let's see here. We got high school bones, cool as hell.
No.
Right into van bones, or was there a?
No. There was restaurant owner bones, Santa Cruz College bones. What else? There was chef bones. God, there's a lot.
All terrible action figures.
Yeah, and then after Van Bones, then there was Farm Intern Bones. That's the poop bucket era. Then I sort of became a bartender and started kind of becoming more of a normal person after that, settling down a little bit. Yeah, been with my now wife for about 10 years and very happy with how things turned out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
Is there any phase before now that you remember as fondly as your life now? It's a loaded question. You're staring at me.
I gotta say the living on that farm with those weirdos was really cool. Yeah, I got to live in a school bus that did not move, wasn't supposed to move.
This is rattling.
And oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
And
it's just, the mics are gonna pick it up.
Yeah, there was a lot of nude swimming and
school bus. Did I hear that correctly?
They took a school bus and then they chopped the top off and they welded a VW bus top half to it, so it was like extra room.
Okay.
And I had internet and running water in there and everything. It was really cool. And I did maintenance on a farm and built structures and helped maintain the grounds and stuff. And it was communally owned, and so the owners were just kind of like regular, they were like liberal San Francisco people, very normal. But all the other interns were like total freaks, drinking pee and hoarding wool in their tents, and just it was a real weird scene, but it was really fun, and it was very healthy, very, very relaxed. I liked it. Yeah. You
just said drinking pee and then healthy. And very
well, no, she wasn't healthy. She drank pee, and she said she was one of those people that always wants to try everything. So she's like, oh yeah, I did heroin that one time, and I did this, and I did she just wanted to try everything. But she swears the best way to avoid getting sick is just to drink urine every day.
Did it work?
I don't know. I never saw her sick.
Sounds like a conclusion to me.
Yeah, that's proof enough.
Marvelous.
Yeah, I haven't tried myself.
Thank you, Bones.
Of course.
That's intense. I got to talk to you more about your funny farm later.
Yeah, it was pretty weird, but enjoyable.
All right, thank you.
Good to talk to you, Lauren.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Adam, my very serious talk show.
Thank you for what is this?
Well, it's not about me for one, but for two, I always wanted to be Charlie Rose, and then he molested a bunch of people. So the throne is vacant, and I'm here to swoop right in.
Oh, okay. So you want a job?
Tell me about your latest movie.
My latest movie, it's a sci-fi action trilogy. So it takes apart, unlike that shit Star Wars, we have a plan. And things are set up in the first one Not resolved in the second, but the third, will it? Tune in to find out. Pay us money.
So, I guess to segue onto a serious topic, sort of. Your improbability is fucking absurd. I threw a prompt at you and you took it and ran with it. What is the process for you doing that? Do you just find some little like two sparks in your mind and rub them together and then suddenly this image comes out?
I rarely listen to people, and usually when you're talking, I'm thinking of something else.
Really?
So I just kind of wait till your mouth stops moving, and then I say whatever I was thinking about.
But you still logically answered the question. Is that just happenstance? Oh, yeah,
What?
there it is.
Nah, yeah, no, you learn to pick up keywords
Okay.
like smart and funny and devilishly handsome.
No, that is something that I struggle with. Because, yeah, coming up with something funny is really hard to do. And you have to do that while listening to somebody else and playing to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And the ability to juggle all of that, I think, is something you're extremely good at. And maybe it's a skill that is potentially undervalued.
I'm not hiring you. That's Charlie Rose's job.
Yeah, where is he?
You must fight him on
he's in
the
a
hill
basement somewhere.
and suck in his quickening.
Is that a Highlander reference?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where else have you heard the quickening mentioned?
Yeah, pretty much nowhere.
Bruce, type in quickening.
Highlander. Got it.
Wow, look at that. Didn't even have to wait for the search results to come back.
Yeah.
Do you find it odd, given that, as near as I can tell, you do not like being the center of attention,
No.
that for some reason that only makes the audience more endeared to you and wanting to know more about you?
That's something you have no control over. I feel like our content's best when we take ego out of it. And if that makes people gravitate towards you, whatever, I'm just going to keep making content when we can be ourselves. That's why I do it. It's for the kids.
Interesting. Because, yeah, I would fame and the validation of success probably motivates a lot of people. So, yeah. I'm not saying that about us. I'm just saying that about
We're
people.
lucky. We're in a weird corner where we're famous.
Yeah.
We're known. You weren't there. A guy yelled at us at a Best Buy today. I think he got fired. He went, "Oh, shit." And it's like, he might think we're someone else. He might recognize us. I don't know. But it was like, hi. Like, I mean, what? I don't know. It's like, yeah, we have a job where our stuff is online and people can watch it. Imagine if a dentist had a YouTube channel. You're like, oh, I know you. It's like, of course you do, because the stuff's online. It's available. We're going to make this stuff to make ourselves laugh anyway. We just happen to put it up in a public space.
Okay. So this is the sort of thing you would do in your off time if you worked in a grocery store?
Yeah.
Or that you already did?
Yeah, I mean, I did this shit with my friends all the time. They were just never motivated enough to put it up online. I'm actually working with motivated people, so it makes it easier to actually justify it as being a job.
So what kind of stuff did you do with your friends, and how far back?
I mean, way back, middle school, high school, we would all sit around, we'd play GTA Vice City, and we'd make up metagames within the game. Be like, all right, let's see how long you could last with the cops chasing you, and do shit like that. And it was like, I guess this could be a video, because random stuff would happen and we'd all laugh. And like, that's kind of what we do now, just expanding from there. So it's just a bunch of friends sitting around playing stuff, being funny.
Did that sort of stuff come out because there's nothing else to do and you have a copy of GTA, so we'll just sit here playing it all night and try to make it interesting? Or
The opposite, actually. There was a lot to do. We were young kids, and like someone's friends' parents wouldn't be home, or they'd be cool with them having a party. And we could have been drinking, doing drugs, skating or whatever, but we decided to stay inside and play video games. That's how much of a kind of shut-in I guess I was.
Oh, I understand that.
Sorry, acid reflux.
That's cool. Yeah, you're going through some shit right now.
I'll live.
I hope so.
Yeah. And we're all going to die. Just how soon?
Yeah. When and how?
I don't know.
Naked, on fire.
That's all right. I just sent some of my poop in the mail.
Yeah, how was that?
I got to dig through my own crap.
Well, one would think that tells the tale itself, but perhaps it's just me. And a lot of things are just me, so that's okay.
That's
but
okay.
The older I get, the more novelty I find in doing something for the very first time, no matter what it is. Please don't drink all the air. So certainly, I think scraping shit out of your butt and then parceling it out into other smaller containers is a fresh experience.
To be totally clear, it was one of those things that you get fries from a carnival at.
Oh, a
So
scoop.
you shit on that,
Oh,
and then you dig the shit out of there. So I didn't dig it out of my butt. I pooped on a thing.
Does it float in the toilet, or do you have to hold it?
Oh, no, I was holding it under my butt. I pooped onto a thing.
And you hit it like first try?
I had to pinch it off a little bit, but yes.
Well, even still, I feel like most people wouldn't know where a poop comes out
Comes out your butt.
Well, yeah, but a butt has plenty of surface area.
I mean, I got a good. I guess maybe I had a lucky catch.
All right, and on that, thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good luck at the job,
Thanks.
Charlie.
I'll try.
It's wobbly.
Yeah, these I
It's
took
gonna
them from
throw me
outside.
off in this interview.
Would you believe I even tightened up some of the screws in
screws?
that to make it a little more rigid?
You sure you didn't loosey-goosey him instead?
Maybe I did. Hey, Dan.
Hi,
Welcome.
Lawrence. What's up?
Yeah, sorry I was supposed to introduce you before we started talking.
Okay. Do we look at each other? Is
You can
that
look
the
wherever
way
you
it
want.
goes? All right, I'm going to stare at James.
This is the part where I establish rapport. And yeah, so you and James know each other, right?
Yeah, long time.
How far back do you know?
Was I guess high school?
Man,
Long,
high school
long time.
days.
High school and college.
How was your high school?
I liked high school mostly. I guess it took me like a year or two to find my clique, my like friend group, and that's when it worked for me. Not the most stereotypical high school. I don't remember. There was like that group of cool kids, but I don't remember a lot of bullies or horrible people. Just the cool druggies and people dying in drunk driving accidents and shit like that.
Yeah, and then having to hold moments of respect
Yeah,
for the heroes. That,
there was a lot of death in our high school. It was weird. Yeah, some other kid in cross country is like running across the street. This is a terrible way to start the interview.
Is it? Let Charlie Rose
A, lo-
decide.
a lot of death. Okay, Charlie.
Yeah, go for it. Who cares?
It's all good. What's next? Next question.
What did you do after high school? What's the first job you got ever? The first thing you were
job.
paid for. I should be explicit.
I taught a bunch of like elementary school kids art. So I took these private art lessons,
Man,
like
you can
drawing
do
and painting.
anything.
And so yeah, I assisted the teacher, the lady whose house we went to learn how to paint and draw better. She also taught like kindergartners and first graders, and I was like her assistant or whatever.
So you went to art
teacher's
school?
assistant.
Or
No, this is like
art class?
This is like lessons after school and stuff in middle school and high school.
Well, you mentioned your qualification was that you had had some amount of training.
Yeah, from that lady.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you graduated her class and then assisted her.
Exactly.
How was that job?
It was fun. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of by learning how to teach like really young children how to do art, how to like paint and draw, like apple, like you would set up apples and banana and shit in the corner and put a light on it so the light was interesting and teach them how to draw that. And through teaching someone that doesn't know how to do something, you kind of relearn the basics and instill those very strongly in your own brain, I guess.
Is that a hobby you've kept up with? Or is it
No,
mostly-
not at all. Later on in high school, I did a man. We're way back now. I feel like an old man. Did an art AP class with the most horrible man on earth, and he kind of burned the love of drawing and painting out of me. So much so that so when I graduated from high school, went to college and started getting into like video, cinematography and film and stuff. So kind of dropped the painting stuff because I was so sick of it because of this one horrible teacher.
Man,
Yeah.
what? I want to ask for names, but that's probably not cool.
Probably not. I hope that dude's not still teaching. But he was basically this Jabba the Hutt guy. They would sit at the front of the classroom. You'd never see him move. He's like 400 pounds, and he would just yell and scream. He did throw a pair of scissors at me once, so I probably could have
What?
gotten him fired.
Yeah, that's.
He was like the one time I saw him move. He was like someone had poured. Kids are stupid. They poured a bunch of Elmer's glue on some scissors, and he freaked the fuck out and hurled them across the room. And it's like one of those Matrix things where it goes like right in front of your face.
Okay, so in a fit of rage, he threw them randomly.
Yes, and it was right at me. Yeah, not at me purposefully.
I was about to ask what you did to incur this
No,
Slugman's wrath.
I was a good kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you feel like that creative drive though has persisted in the job you do now?
Absolutely.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You're ashamed to have that die.
Yeah. No, I think art stuff was in me from when I was a little kid. Creative drive has been in me since I was a little kid. So I don't think that'll ever die. It'll just manifest in different ways as I get older, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
Can you feel any other parts of your child self still alive in you, or has it all been killed by a cold and cruel world?
Sure. No. I think it stays alive in you, especially like a job like this where you get to be creative all the time. There's still bits of joy and like laughing at fart jokes and stuff. That's like, poop is one of the first things you laugh at when you're like a little infant. So I still laugh at that, I guess. So
It's pure.
yeah, that's
Despite
got to still
being-
be in me some way. I am much more jaded, but it lives on. I think you have to nurture it.
The poop.
Yeah, the poop.
You
The
can't
poop
forget.
within.
Can't forget the poop. Well, what's your? I guess do you have creative goals, or are you just kind of happy?
Oh man.
Happy expressing yourself in the way you do.
I think I've always got new creative goals, new paths, and things I want to try out. like diving back into editing kind of reset a lot of my, I guess, creative goals and career goals that way. We're starting at Funhaus, that is. So I don't know. I'm always finding new stuff to try and push on. But I think a lot of my recent creative life has been getting used to this world.
What did you do just before you started here?
Oh, it was other post-production stuff.
Okay.
I was managing a team of people that did post-production work, like, DVDs and QC teams and stuff like that.
Cool. All right, Dave. I think we're out of time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh boy. All right.
It's good to get to know you.
All right. Ooh, so festive.
Yeah, I decorated everything. Thank you, Jacob.
Yes.
So welcome, Jacob. I got to say that. Make sure I get everybody's name so that people
Hello,
know who we're
Lawrence.
talking to. What is your favorite? And this has been stuck in my head ever since we played Destiny. What's your favorite Dexter's Laboratory character?
My favorite Dexter's Laboratory character? I don't know. I always found it's kind of weird, but I always thought Dee Dee was pretty entertaining.
Nice.
But
I was hard lefting you there because we talked about
Yeah.
Jimmy Neutron.
haha,
Toss
see,
you
I
out.
watch cartoons more than one.
Yeah. See. Okay. So who's your favorite Jimmy Neutron character?
Ooh, I feel like I identified with Carl a lot because he was kind of a doof, and I'm kind of a doof too. So
You think of yourself as a doof?
a little bit,
Yeah.
but like,
Is there like any shame mixed in there, or you wear it proudly?
I feel like you can't be like a likable doof if you're ashamed of it. So you gotta embrace it, and then you can that becomes like your thing, sort of. So yeah, I'm a good doof.
Was there ever a time in which you had to switch from being a shameful doof to a proudful doof, or was it always just your whole life you've been comfortable there?
I think it was a natural evolution.
Okay.
Like I think going throughout like middle school and high school and stuff, it's like that's when you want to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then like after that, and then you realize it's way easier to just be a goofball and stuff. And yeah,
This is interesting.
Easy peasy.
Did you and John discuss at all? Because he said something very similar.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have any discussion. We must
Wow.
just be like on the same wavelength. Or
I guess so.
have had the same growth of personality in our lives and stuff.
So how do you incorporate it when people try to make you feel awkward or like you're expressing too much or you're not behaving in the right way? Do you just sort of brush it off? Or?
Like misbehaving, like doing something bad, or
Oh no, it's more like just that like if you're acting out or just being stupid and somebody's like, hey, come on,
See, that's the thing about being kind of like easygoing and stuff. Is like it's easy to just like kind of project that, but you have to be kind of like conscious of everybody else around you, so that like you never like become a bother or anything. You want to. I've always wanted to be somebody that's enjoyable to be around, so I always have to kind of pick and choose how I interact with people and how much of myself I let out to not be totally annoying.
I understand that deeply. Yeah. So I guess that's a process that you've refined over the years.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
got it down to a T now.
Are there any? This may be a little probative, but are there any situations where, like, you went too far too fast, and some like, do you lie awake at night sometimes remembering those moments and being like,
Almost every video I'm in,
yeah,
afterwards I'll be like, fuck, what was I doing? But that's what editors are for. So
okay.
yeah. So I just kind of don't worry about it too much. But usually, like, I'll come off of a video and be like, what did I say or do? Or what was I even thinking? I just thought of something better. But
So-
what can you do?
You seem to be kind of early on in having a video-facing persona or being in videos and things like that. What is that process like? Do you look at comments? Are you worried about how people are perceiving you? Is it strange seeing that perception differ from who you are? Those sorts of things?
Yeah, I look at comments on stuff that I appear in sometimes. And, like, it's YouTube and stuff. There's always negative things. Like, the positive things make you feel really good. And then there's the ones that you really agree with, like, where's Dawn? Why is Jacob in this video? Where's Dawn? And I'm like, yeah, where was Dawn?
No,
But,
yeah.
Yeah, like, it never bothers me too much. And it's kind of, I like making people entertained and stuff to like at some dumb noise I made or something like that.
Well, speaking of dumb noises, for some reason, you are fantastically educated on sea life.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned it. Continue, please.
Where was there? Can you trace that back to anything, or is that just something that's part of you?
I think I just read a lot of really big books with pictures of like sea animals and stuff in them, and just read all that and absorbed it like a sponge, and now it's just stuck in my brain forever.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me started on the ampullae of Lorenzini.
What's a Lorenzini?
It was a guy that this thing was named after.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean,
What do you write?
I don't remember that part because that's not part of the shark. But let me tell you, it's like a whole Sixth Sense thing, electromagnetic pulses and things like that. Don't worry about it. I can get into it at a different time.
So you also brought up denticles at lunch.
Oh, yeah. Dermal denticles.
So it sounds like a tentacle but a tooth.
Yeah. Well,
Is
it's
that
like
basically what it is?
Well, it's like dentist and stuff. But yeah, it's just the little, not really scales. They're like little microscopic teeth almost make up the shark's skin. And that's just why they're called that, because they're made out of the same stuff.
Man, that's cool.
But yeah, it's pretty rad. I wish I was made out of teeth.
So you found that marine information is the only thing that's stuck in your mind and everything
Yes.
else just sort of fell out?
It's so useful to have that stuff in my head constantly. I'm grateful that out of all the things I learned when I was a child, that's the one thing I retained.
Yeah, have you ever questioned why that's the one thing?
I wonder sometimes, but it's like growing up and watching a bunch of cartoons and stuff, is you remember all the little things about that. And that's just the one thing I held on to. I'm sure there's other things too, but for some reason it just resurfaced this past year.
All right, well, we got to find a way to make use of that.
Yes, indeed.
Well, Jacob, thank you for your time.
You're welcome,
Appreciate
Lawrence. A Christmas cheers to you.
Oh, yes, to you too. Don't drink that. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for. I'm great, but thank you for being on. We're all working pretty hard to get all our shit done before the holiday. Speaking of holiday, and you're probably gonna hate this that I'm calling this out, but I feel like out of all of us, you might demonstrate the value of like giving and being selfless the most.
Oh, I don't know about that. Really. I mean, maybe I unconsciously want to project that, but no, I'm as much an Ebenezer Scrooge as anything else.
Well, and if you don't want to discuss this, that's cool. Just say something, we can cut it. But I do recall that you were talking once, and you had mentioned that you would be giving rides to people and giving food to people, and you would develop relationships with certain people in need and stuff like that because you were spending so much time with them.
Well, right. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I had asked you if you. I think the context was, I'd asked you if you ever worried about being taken advantage of due to your generosity, and you were mentioning how some lady was asking you for rides and stuff, and it just got to be a bit habitual.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. For a while, I was kind of. This was really only kind of one instance. This didn't really develop. It was sort of something I think I would like to do. I think I learned a lot from that situation because it ended up being that. Where do I go with this? Let's see. Yeah, I like the idea of helping people out when you can, and like trying to just get to know people essentially. And that kind of happened with this individual that I maintained a rapport with for a couple years. But anytime I would just kind of open the door for let's get to know each other better, it was always that individual's choice to never walk through it, which is fine. That's their choice. But they continued to ask for rides, which is fine, and continued to ask for money, which eventually it became clear that the money was being spent on lotto tickets. So that was a bit of a sting, and I didn't feel inclined to give that person money anymore because I don't really support that kind of thing. But so I feel like I learned a lot from that situation. I don't bear that person any ill will, but since then I've sort of been trying to figure out ways to, yes, carry on that sentiment, but not really in the form of handouts too much, because the lesson I learned from that, and I don't want to generalize, but you give someone a handout, they typically just kind of keep asking for handouts. And so unless they sort of demonstrate some willingness to like actively change their situation themselves, it's kind of difficult for me to keep just supporting a habit of handouts. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Anyway, we can cut that up if we want. I don't know if that went off too far of a tangent.
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
If you're comfortable with that being there, then
It's fine.
I'd love for it to. You mentioned that this all flows from your desire to get to know people. Do you know where that comes from? Is there something that you get out of meeting people and learning about them and what they do?
Well, yeah, I mean, I get a better, I think, perspective, and I think for the most part a better quality of life, because you kind of get out. It's helped me sort of get outside my own thinking and thinking with a bit more of, or trying to approach a bit more of an objective point of view by, getting to know someone, especially when they don't think the same as you, getting to know someone and getting over that sort of initial abrasive emotional response that, and I know at least I tend to have if someone especially is not agreeing with me on something. But once you get over that and can develop something good, it's like you really learn a lot, and it's cool to realize you can actually have meaningful relationships with people that don't agree with you. And so I think that's really valuable. I'm not sure where it comes from. I don't know if I could have one point of that specifically, but probably just upbringing. And I know there was a lot of community outreach in the church I grew up in. A lot. They were really big on community outreach and trying to get to know people. So I guess if I had to pick one thing, that'd probably be where a good part of it came from.
I see. Do you have a recent example of something that you learned just in the course of getting to know somebody?
Well, let me think. I'm sure I could think of something. I don't know. How much time do I got here?
I mean, you're technically at it right now. I was just curious.
Yeah. I'm sure there is. I would just have to take a few minutes and think about it. So maybe if there's
that's an ongoing thing.
Something else.
That's an essay question, and I dropped it on you out of nowhere. So.
No, it's fine. I should be able to. I know as soon as I walk out of here, I'll be able to think of 3 little minor things. But anyway, go ahead.
That's all right. Well, Matt, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a stellar individual. And thank you for consistently, adorably shunning the spotlight.
You're welcome.
Right. Welcome, Omar.
Hello.
Hey, this is my talk show thing.
I like this.
Yeah, I got a little tree. It's nice.
You gotta hide the wire though, Lawrence.
There were wires I wasn't able to hide, so I thought it was But hey, on that note, you end up doing most of the technical production of our shows, yeah?
I try to.
Yeah. So the goal is mostly to introduce you to the audience, and everybody can get to know each other.
After 2 years here, introduce me to the audience.
Yeah. No. I think your first appearance was the Omar tracker, and then it just kind of meandered on. What do you feel about, or if there is such a thing, public perception of you versus who you are?
Who I am, really?
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a weird divergence there in it all?
No, I don't know. I try to be pretty genuine to who I am all the time, because it's hard to lie about stuff. It's hard to keep that shit straight.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think people seem to be really nice to me when they see me in person. So hopefully, I'm nice in return. I don't know.
Well, it's you're sort of fascinating because you have a sort of very explicit mental creed that drives your philosophy. And correct me if I'm misstating or misunderstanding it all, but
no, PMA, positive mental attitude. I try to live my whole life trying to stay positive. It's hard. It's not always like 100%. Like I don't get down or anything, but this is gonna be weird. Sorry. I lost a lot of people to suicide. Like in my life, close friends. One that was like a brother. Like 5 people suicide throughout my life. It's pretty wild. Like probably not normal.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but so because of that, trying to stay positive, thinking about things that way helps me get through the dark times in what I think is a relatively like healthy way, because it's not that I ignore it or like push it away or whatever, but acknowledging it, moving past it, being okay with things not going perfectly all the time, that's all staying positive, even though it is acknowledging negative things and like working through it and stuff. It's still positive mental attitudes about everything.
Well, it's interesting because you clearly describe it as though it's an effort.
It is an effort.
But is the effort so simple as forcing yourself into positivity, or because that doesn't not to put you in.
No. I like that too though. Yeah, it's not forcing myself to be positive. Well, PMA is a weird way to like to just. It's a hard thing to try to explain to people who
I forgot to start my timer. Sorry.
Who like fight with depression or whatever. But it's not that I'm forcing myself to be positive about negative situations. It's that I'm not letting myself linger on negative situations, and I'm telling my brain, be like, hey, that's a shitty thing. Deal with it quickly. Find something that makes it better, and move on to that. So like, one of the charities that I really like a lot, that I give a lot of money to throughout the year, their motto is, it's okay to not be okay, and acknowledging that and then moving forward. And then that's how you slowly repair all the shitty things and move into positive things.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the name of the charity if you don't mind?
It's Hope for the Day.
Okay.
That you see me wear that Biggie shirt that says, it's got one of his lyrics on the back, so like, I was in the negative and turned it whatever, I forget it already.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're pretty awesome. They're kind of like a DIY punk rocky kind of thing, and yeah, they do a lot for people, helping them get through shitty situations and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess on a somewhat lighter note, you've had no, it's totally cool. I prefer that a million times over what's your favorite pizza topping. What you've had an interesting work history though, which I also find fascinating.
Oh, that I didn't do this at all for so long.
You worked at you were a lifeguard.
I was a lifeguard for the fire department in Los Angeles for 16 years before this.
My God.
Is it super weird to me because like it was whatever. I had that job. I was a lifeguard at pools during high school. I got that job out of high school and I just worked there. But you talk to everyone else, it's like, oh, I worked this place for a year, that place for 2 years, this place for 6 months. Like, no, I had the same job for 16 years, and now I've been here for 2.
Does working a place for 16 years, would you, that was Benson yawning. All right. Did it just enter a state of routine where you didn't really learn anything new or experience anything new, or was there some sort of cumulative knowledge that built up or some sort of sublime understanding?
Well, and this was, I did like normal ass lifeguarding in a tower for 16 years. The last 8 years probably, realistically, I did youth programs. So I was working with kids, picking up kids at schools, mostly special needs kids, taking them to the beach, teaching them how to surf, how to kayak, how to sail in a sailboat. I taught sailing for youth for 5 years or something. Was super awesome. Doing all that stuff was like, it made it not monotonous because, kids are crazy. And seeing a bunch of different, special needs kids or at-risk kids and low-income schools and regular, private high-income schools, like seeing a whole wide variety of society through these children made it super awesome. And I feel like I learned a lot about people and a lot about what people actually need versus what they want.
Okay.
And like how society takes care of certain classes of people and all that stuff. And then, that all influences who I am, I guess.
Well, yeah. And on that note, do you feel like, and this is maybe a little reaching outside my station, but in your position now and for what we do and the amount of people we have the privilege of reaching and talking to and the number of people that invite us into their lives, do you feel like maybe there's an opportunity to learn more as well as influence for the better a lot more?
Yeah. It is pretty wild because we know, like, you boil it down, we make, dick and poop jokes for the internet or whatever. But going to RTX or going to the PAX the one time that I went to that, like, seeing the group of people that are into our stuff is, like, the same, It's like a crazy diverse group of people that are into what we do. And then how much they say we help their day-to-day makes me feel just as good as taking a special needs kids out in a kayak or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Omar. Appreciate that. Well, that'll just about do it. It wouldn't be a good family gathering if there weren't some disruption. There is one member of our family, Don, who elected to not be in the video because he's working under pretty tight deadlines to get a video done for the break. So I'm sorry about that. But you have just about the full family tour. I have one announcement for you. We at Funhaus will be doing a live show. That's correct. We're doing a live show. That's at the Regent, which is in downtown Los Angeles. Just a brief run through. If you've ever been to any of our panels at any of our shows, like RTX or PAX or something like that, you have a rough idea of what to expect. It's not a Dude Soup live. It's not a Let's Play live. It's just going to be us doing a series of sketches and bits, heavy dose of improv with some prop work and things like that. And it'll have kind of a cohesive theme. It'll tell a cohesive story, but it's going to be pretty insane. Tickets are available now, though. There's a short URL for you. It's bit.ly/funhouselive. All written out, bit.ly/funhouselive. You can find a link in the description here. We'd like come out and see our show. We'd like to see you. We're also selling VIP tickets. They have earlier admission and we kind of an exclusive Q&A. So doors at 7:30, shows at 8:30, earlier for VIP, and that's Thursday, January 18th, 2018. Funhouse, bit.ly/funhouselive. And I guess as a final note, I wish you and yours a happy holiday. Thank you for joining our family for ours. That was kind of musical down there. And we'll see you in 2018. So look forward to next week's Dude Soup because we've got some big announcements to drop on you. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
On the point of how much he is then committed to his character, that makes it even harder for people to disassociate a personal life of this real person from what he is. I mean, he's that way on his Twitter, his Instagram, everything. So, where does that line then get drawn?
I think there's a whole thing here that...
But again, I also just make clear, I